The Meepo V4S, also known as the Shuffle S, is Meepo's latest flagship budget board, just $449. It comes with large 105mm wheels, 2 different battery options, and a fast charger that they claim can recharge your board from empty to full in under half an hour. But there's more to like about this board. My henchman Aleks and his henchman Chase Missing Tooth Parker had been testing this board in Hangzhou since before Shanghai's lockdown was lifted. Let's see what Aleks has to say about it, and then I'll give you my thoughts.
CIGA Design has made a really cool looking mechanical watch. They call it the Series X Gorilla. Just look at that. No wonder they won so many design awards. Aside from the looks and top quality materials, this watch has an independent suspension system. You heard me. This is so that the watch is more resilient against impact, such as when you fall off your board and become meat crayon. Best of all, it's not hub motor, it's not belt drive, it's gear drive for true premium power. Learn more about the CIGA Series X at dquan.com/CIGA Design.
The V4S comes in 2 sizes, a standard range and extended range model. The standard range sports a 10S 144 watt-hour battery, and the extended range model doubles that. For this video, Meepo sent us the standard range model. Chase Missing Tooth Parker and I tested the V4S multiple times and got an average range of about 7.5 miles or 12 kilometers. The range is not that impressive at all, and with the standard charger that we got, it took a while to charge as well. The 2 models ship with different chargers, with standard range V4S charging from flat to full in about 3.5 hours, while the extended range model allegedly does it in 2.5 hours with a higher amperage charger. Meepo also offers 8 amp chargers that they say will take 28 minutes to charge the standard range model and 58 minutes for the extended range. Okay, hear me out. If you're gonna get this board, make sure you get it with the fast charger or the 8 amp charger, or you could find yourself stranded more than you'd like. In my opinion, there are 2 schools of thought for battery and charger combos. Either a huge battery that you can charge once and forget, or a small battery with a fast charger like what Meepo offers here. But I see what Meepo is doing here. They're trying to make the charger smaller for it to be more conveniently carried. However, Meepo, I do have a complaint. The battery indication is a little bit misleading. The first 2 bars of the battery last about 75% of the range, and the second half displayed battery dies a lot quicker than the first half. I found myself being overconfident about the range of the board, so there was a couple times when the board died and I had to push it home where I could charge it. When going uphills, the battery level will drop dramatically due to voltage sag, and the board will stop completely and I had to restart the board and the remote to move by itself again. So you might want to get to work on that. But to be fair, with a board with a larger battery, like the Hurricane, this kind of issue just doesn't happen. The V4S ditches the previous hub motors for a smaller design. The new hubs comes with much thicker urethane sleeve, and these new motors are really silent. Unlike some of the Hobbywing hub motors, where I can audibly hear the motors, I can't hear the Meepo motors at all, which contributes to it feeling more like a normal longboard. Being a hub board, it is really easy to push if you run out of battery, which I had to do a couple times. So the range is in theory, unlimited! I'm losing it, aren't I? The V4S retains the same Ling E 1.0 FOC controller as its predecessor. The acceleration was surprisingly good, which surprised me. It was able to keep up with some belt boards that I have access to for a few seconds. Going uphill on the V4S was underwhelming at best, but I can still do it to an extent. Using hub boards, it fixed the problem that I had with Ling E ESC, which is that the brakes come on way too hard at once. So hub motors being hubs, it smooths it out a lot. So it makes it feel much better. The V4S remote that comes in a box features a boosted style throttle wheel with a couple of multifunction buttons, a relatively large display. There are 4 speed modes and 4 brake modes, which I think is a more customizable option than the Hobbywing offering. You can have low speed with hard brakes, or vice versa for a better fit of your style. The remote feels nice in the hand. The throttle wheel also feels very nice and smooth. Only complaint that I have is that the buttons are placed way too low to be easily accessible. The battery on the remote lasts longer than the Hobbywing, which I like, and overall it's a nice remote. Like most of Meepo's lineup, the V4S comes with a 45-degree shredder reverse kingpin truck. Hear me out. Meepo, in my honest opinion, has the best bushings of any brand. Paired with their trucks, it's smooth as butter. Rebound of the trucks feel really nice. How these trucks feel is really something amazing. On the V4S, there's a pair of 92A longboard barrel bushings on the front trucks and 100A on the rear truck. I had Meepo bushings on other boards as well. I just like the softer bushings on my board for a more nimble ride. But nothing is as smooth turning as the Meepo combo in my opinion. The rear truck is a classic hub motor truck look. I don't mind it, but some customers might think it looks too cheap. I did encounter some wheel bite when I was riding it though, so some risers might help fixing that issue. Overall, I just love how these trucks feel and it's really a joy to ride on them. Similar to the V4, the deck on the V4S is made of maple and fiberglass laminate. It has a very, very deep concave. The deepest concave on any board that I've ever ridden, if you catch my drift. It kind of tilts your toes up while you're riding it. From the lamination, it honestly looks kind of cheap, and if it was painted or has like an ABS coating like some other manufacturer, it'll look much nicer. At first, the deck looked a little bit fugly to me, but once I looked at it for a couple days, I didn't really mind it that much. There's some scratches and blemishes on the graphics at the bottom, but it's not really noticeable unless you're like really nitpicking and like looking for it. The deck is very hard. It's a minimal flex deck, which confuses me because they're using a split enclosure design. Come on! The V4S sports upgraded 105mm urethane all-terrain wheels. These wheels were the most surprising part after the trucks. They honestly look like knockoff clouds, but like I prefer these over the clouds. I think the polyurethane compound they're using is different because the wheel deforms more than the cloud wheels, and the contact patch is also wider. It has way better traction on wet ground than brand new clouds. I guess I describe them as pre-worn clouds because of their wider contact patch. The most surprising thing though, if you didn't tell me it was a hub board, I wouldn't really notice it because of the thicker sleeve. But to be fair, I haven't ridden hub boards in a really long time. Measuring 35 inches long and deep. The V4S is one of the shorter split enclosure longboards available, which makes it less cumbersome to carry around than the competition, which usually sports 38 to 42 inch size DX. The shorter length also makes it a little bit more difficult to tow around though. You know, size doesn't matter. At least that's what she told me. The V4S weighs 7.8 kilograms and 8.4 kilograms for the standard range and extended range models respectively. In my opinion, it's a little bit too hefty. Considering other split enclosure boards like Tiny Ultra and X-Ray Flex sits under 8 kilograms while boasting more range and power. The aesthetic design of Meepo's new lines of boards is something that I need some more time to get used to. The first time I opened the box and I saw the board, I thought it was like, oh my god, what the hell is this? Like everything individually looks good, but something about the combination of them just rubs me the wrong way. It's shorter than I like for electric longboards, so there's that. I think it's mostly the very aggressive concave on the deck, paired with the battery enclosure that's so unique to say the least, gives this board sort of like a alien feel to it. So if you can get over the range and the look of the board, it's a very solid board. Meepo is one of the OG Chinese electric skateboard companies that pushed the DIY warranty model. The V4S comes with a 6-month warranty, during which after-sales support is generally done in a DIY way. Meepo V4S continues the mission of the original Meepo Shuffle. It is an excellent board for newcomers to electric skateboarding. So in my opinion, V4S is a great board for college students who don't have thousands of dollars to spare and want an electric skateboard that is fun to ride between classes. It has a very well-rounded experience that I think is a breath of fresh air than all the carbon fiber 2-in-1 e-skateboards that we have today.
Very nice, very nice. That was so cringe, I love it. So now I'm gonna give you a bit of my thoughts. Alex feels that this board is fugly. I don't entirely disagree. I feel like it at least looks professionally made. I mean, if you compare that with like the Meepo V1, this looks way better. I mean, in terms of style, like he said, it kind of looks like an alien spaceship, but at least it looks professional. It kind of looks like a toy, to be honest. Maybe that's what they were going for. So Aleks recommends getting an 8 amp charger. Just so you're aware, the 8 amp charger is not included. It's a separate purchase and it's $128. It's not cheap. And it's also kind of heavy, so something to be aware of. The new hub motors, my chief complaint about hub motors, I mean, sure, belt drive is a lot more versatile, but I think hub motors have their place also. My main complaint about hub motors is that they tend to be uncomfortable because the urethane tend to be really thin. But with this solution, with the, I don't know what they call these wheels, but they're not cloud wheels, but they're similar to cloud wheels. They're kind of like cloud wheel donuts. Oh yeah, they're calling them donuts also. They're using the same name. I think that's a good solution for hub motors. So with hub motors, you really gotta have thicker urethane for it to be comfortable. Otherwise, it's just really jarring ride. Regarding the uphill performance being limited, you gotta keep in mind that Aleks is a DIY builder, and those DIY guys, they like to pack as much power as they can into their boards. So by his standards, yeah, the uphill performance is probably pretty bad. But I mean, this is a $500 board. I mean, it's not even $500, it's $450. So Aleks said that he really likes Meepo's bushings. I was kind of surprised by that. I mean, I haven't tried this board myself, but a few years ago I tried the NLS and I did not like the bushing setup. It was like super stiff. And on the Hurricane, I didn't love the bushings on the Hurricane either, but Aleks apparently likes these bushings. And the trucks look really cool also, so it may be a combination of the trucks and the bushings. Aleks mentioned wheel bite. I was a little surprised by that because the deck shape is it's kind of reminiscent of an X-Way Flex. And on the X-Way Flex, I can put on 105mm cloud wheels and there would be no wheel bite at all because the wheel well flares are so big. I'm guessing it's going to be at very low speeds. So the deck is 36 inches. I haven't been on this board, but I've been on the V4 Shuffle, not the V4S, but the V4. I think this is using the same deck. I also felt that that deck was really short. Not really short, but it felt small. It felt short, like, okay, for longboards, most decks are like 38, 39, 40 inches. Some are even over 40 inches, but this one is 36. So by longboard standards, this is pretty short. And also keep in mind that this board has wheel cutouts, so that makes your standing area even smaller. And the very deep concave also makes this deck feel more cramped. So that's just something you should be aware of if you're like, especially if you're a taller person. Something that might help is if you don't put your feet perpendicular to the board, angle your feet forward or angle your feet diagonally on the deck, so that the balls of your feet, like the front of your foot and the back of your foot, they're not both on the concave. So like Aleks said, this board is probably good for newcomers and poor college students. It is $449. I think it's a good budget option for sure. Definitely worth checking out.